Last time out on the Youth Academy Chance, we had just ended the transfer window in the summer, and our first game back was against LK's Lords, and we drew 1-0, having to come from 1-0 down. It was not an ideal start to come back to, but hopefully we can bounce back with a victory in the next match. And bounce back we did, though we did have to come from 1-0 down against Celtic to beat them 3-1. When we did come back and score 2 goals in a matter of 3 minutes, it made me feel very happy indeed. A good result for our first game in the Champions League. The next game we had was against Switzerland, and we drew 1-0 after they scored their only shot of the game in the 8th minute of the match, and we could not get a second goal after equalising in the 40th minute of the match, despite having so many chances to do so. I'm honestly a little disappointed with the fact we didn't win. Then we bounced back with a 3-0 victory against Wrocław, beating them comfortably despite missing a penalty in the 5th minute. Clearly, we don't need to score penalties apparently, because we're really good outside of that. Happy days. We then took a Fiorentina in the Champions League and beat them 2-0. A very good result and a game I didn't think we'd be winning, but it gives me confidence in the future that potentially we could do some damage here. We then took on Graphics and only drew 1-0 again. They had more shots than Switzerland did, but we still should have won this match, given that we had as many chances as we did. We just didn't take our chances, really, and we need to do better in the future. We then took on Lublin and beat them 3-0, scoring 3 goals in a matter of 8 minutes. A very good performance to say the least, and we were absolutely dominant in this match. A wonderful 3 points. Then we took on Juventus in the Champions League, and this was the game that made me believe we have a chance to do something very special in the Champions League this year. To go and host Juventus and beat them 2-1 at home, and to be 2-0 up at one point, makes me believe we can do really well in the Champions League this year. Our best performance so far in terms of results and who we just beat, and I'm hoping we can do more in the future. We then took on Wisla Krakow and beat them 2-0, Davidovic with a brace again, and once again showing that he can be really good in front of goal in the league. We need to make sure that we continue this sort of run in all competitions. And continue it we did. We won 5-1 in the cup in the next match in the second round of the Puchar Polski, and after scoring the second goal, the floodgates just really flew open. 1-0, not so comfortable, but 2-0, we just started having fun, even if we consider the goal with our opponent's only shot on target. We need to do better, we really do. Then we took on Legia Warsaw and had to rely on a penalty to get a share of the spoils. They scored with their only shot on target. We needed the penalty to get a goal. Should I be annoyed? Yes. Am I really annoyed? Not particularly. I'm just happy we didn't lose. And then perhaps our best win of the Champions League so far. 2-1 away to Newcastle United. A game I didn't think we could win because it's Newcastle United, and English clubs tend to be really, really good by the year 2045. So, a magnificent victory, and their goal back was perhaps the best goal I've seen so far. And it's one of those goals I have to show you because I genuinely couldn't believe it happened, but this is a first time effort from that sort of range, and it's completely caught the keeper out. What a finish. So yeah, despite the fact we won and we deserved to win, that made me worried for a second, and they were having chances, they just didn't take them, and we beaten Newcastle at St James's Park, a magnificent victory. We then took on Redon and beat them by 3-1, another lovely victory and a good victory against one of our rivals. We then took on Katowice and beat them 6-1. It still baffles me by the fact that this is the team that destroyed our unbeaten season last year. Clearly, we took it very personally, and we're now going to try and destroy this team every time we take them on next time. It feels right to do so as well, doesn't it? And we even rotated some positions and some players, so we weren't at 100% our full strength here. Then we had this crazy game where we took on Real Sociedad and came from 2-0 down to lead 4-2 at half time, and then it was crazy again. It was 5-2, then 5-3, and Real Sociedad had been defeated, and that's 4 wins and 4 in all of our home games this year and 5 wins out of 5 in the Champions League. Clearly, something's clicking in the Champions League, and I don't know what it is. We then took on Lech Poznan and beat them 1-0 in the league to really cement our position in the league as well, to once again show that we're the best team in the country. We then took on LKS Lodz in the 3rd round of the Pucharski, and we had to score a 92nd minute winner to ensure we go through to the next round. Not ideal, but we're going to defend our cup either way. Then we took on Górnik Zabrze and beat them 5-0. A team that is currently one of the title challengers for us. So this was a demolition, and I definitely was not expecting this caliber of performance. Marek Kuksepsi getting a hat-trick from centre midfield was the highlight for me. And then we took on Sparta Prague in the last Champions League game before the winter break and beat them 4-0. A very, very comfortable performance, to say the least. And that's also 6 wins from 6 in the Champions League so far. We then took on our next opponent and beat them 4-0. We scored all of our goals before they suffered their first of 2 red cards. A very comfortable victory, to say the least. And Kimmich, who was coming into play instead of Davidovic because we were rotating the squad, got a hat-trick. So, happy days. And then we failed to get a goal for the first time this season against Popecia, and we drew 0-0. We kept a clean sheet, but we should have won. There's no denying that, and I don't know how we didn't win this game at all. Especially when they're down to 10 men after 43 minutes. So, an entire second half down a man, and they still get a point. Very disappointing. But still, as things stand in the league, we are top of the table, 8 points clear of 2nd and 3rd place, Górnik Zabrze and Cracovia respectively. Lech Poznan have fallen off a cliff at the moment. They're down to 4th. Legia Warsaw are barely in the European places right now, in 5th. I think only goal difference or results between teams ahead of Slas Wrocław, but things can happen. And it's very competitive down that league as well. They're only 4 points away from 12th place as well. So from 5th to 12th, it is very congested in there in terms of how close everyone is in terms of points. So we're enjoying a good year so far in the league, but what about the Champions League? Because I've already highlighted how well we've been doing so far. And quite frankly, we're top of the table. And I don't know how we're top of the table. The teams we've beaten, we probably should never be beating. We've beaten Juventus. We've beaten Newcastle, who have lost 3 times to be fair, but they've also lost to Betis and Bayern Munich. So we're the outlier a lot of teams this season, it feels like. We beat Sociedad, who've actually not had a better season so far. They've also lost 3 games so far. But Fiorentina, I'd expect us to be doing well against, but not this well. The only other team they lost to was against Tottenham, and that was 4-0. Yeah, Sociedad losing to Celtic. That's the outlier for me, the Celtic defeat. It told me that, yeah, that team's possible to beat, and I didn't think we'd beat them by that scoreline. But yeah, some of the teams down here, we are taking on one of the teams that have got no points in the next match in Firenze, and I think we can beat them, and they got Real Betis afterwards. So, legitimately, not only could we get a top 8 finish, but we could actually win the league outright this year for the very first time, and I can't believe it. So, who's to say what's going to happen this year? Because the 2 teams we're taking on next, in the last 2 matches, are not doing brilliantly, and that's saying a lot. I am going to cover the Europa League as well, because Cracovia are in it, and actually doing quite well. 13 points in their first 6 matches, and I'm hoping they can do well, but they've got Real Madrid in the next match, so good luck to them, really. They're going to need a lot of luck in that game. And then the last game they've got, I think it's away. No, it's at home against Vitória de Guimarães, so another difficult team. So they might do well, they might not do well, but they got a top 24 finish regardless, and there's that. I will say though, what happened to Cracovia is absolutely disgusting. They lost 6 games out of 6, and I can't believe they're this bad, but okay. Coefficients-wise, we've got 5.8 points. We've only 2 teams doing well this year. We're hoping for miracles, really. We are going to go up at least 1 position so far to 9th, but I think the Netherlands might be a bit too much to try and overcome. Same with Austria at this point in time, but we are only 1.3 points behind both teams at worst, but Austria are having a good year. I'm hoping we can do well in the Champions League and the Europa League with ourselves and Cracovia, but who knows what's going to happen at this point in time. We did also get a Youth Intake preview. I'm not sure what to make of it, but apparently we've got at least one attacking midfielder out of 3 players who are going to be good. A striker who looks like he could be good. And while we've got 2 centre backs, not really much to talk about there. So we're starting to get to that point of the save where the intakes are not going to improve our score massively, and we're going to need a lot of miracles if we're going to do well. But who knows, we might get lucky in one of these intakes every now and again, and we could do some good things. I just hope it's a good intake, really. That's what I asked for. So yes, what I'm going to do is end this here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you guys like and share this video, and that you will subscribe to the channel. It really does help me a lot. Gonna be mad to ask this question, but do you think we have a chance to win not only the league phase of the Champions League, but get to the quarter-final of the Champions League for the very first time if we get a good opponent? Because I hope whoever ends up in the round of 24 isn't going to be too challenging for us and we can beat them. But if we get a tough draw, then I'm confident we can beat them at this point in time, given what we've already done so far this year. But anyway, until next time, goodbye, and well, good night.